Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another MLS update. Today, we're talking about an MLS rule that sometimes creates confusion. The difference between the commencement date and the submission date on a listing agreement and what that means for entering listings into the MLS. The LVR listing agreement will reflect these MLS policies to clear confusion that may exist on this topic and will be released in April. I'm joined by Georgia Purpura, 2026 MLS Board Vice Chair, and David Brownell, our 2026 MLS Board Director. Let's start with the basics. Before a listing is even entered into the MLS, what needs to be in place?
So the very, very first requirement that we have to start with is the listing agreement, and it needs to be fully executed, which means it must have all of the necessary signatures, seller, agent, and of course, the broker signature as well. And the agreement also must include a definite start date and a final termination date. That's law. We have to do that.
And that start date is what we refer to as a commencement date, correct?
That's right. I mean, it's always been, there's the date that the listing agreement started is referred to in the current agreement as the commencement date. And that is what begins the relationship between the seller and the broker and the agent to begin the marketing and sale of that property.
So it's essentially the date that the listing agreement becomes effective.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so once the listing agreement begins and is effective, how does the submission date come into play?
So the submission date is identified in the listing agreement, which the listing must be delivered into the MLS. Now, the important thing to remember is that the submission date cannot be any later than 10 calendar days after the commencement date.
And why would a submission date ever be later than the commencement date?
Well, here's what happens. I mean, there's sometimes that a property needs some work or needs some things to happen, or the seller and or the agent both need to kind of get ready. And so there's repairs, there's cleaning, there's staging, there's photographs, all of that stuff. And so this new rule will allow a short window, those 10 days, for the seller and the brokerage and the agent to be ready to go upon that submission date.
Okay, but there's an important restriction during that time, right?
Definitely no public marketing. No public marketing at all. No sign up, no social media posts, no public marketing is allowed, and no flyers or email blasts, anything public. This time frame is strictly for the getting ready time.
Okay, and if public marketing does exist or occur?
Yeah, well, the problem there is that then we bring clear cooperation and the policies associated with clear cooperation into play. And so if someone began to do that, then the property would need to be immediately submitted upon the date that marketing started.
Okay. And another question that we sometimes hear from members is what happens if the listing agreement doesn't include a submission date?
In that situation, the rules say the submission date automatically becomes the same as the commencement date. That means the listing must be submitted to the MLS by 11:59 p.m. on that same day, unless other rules require a different submission.
Okay, and just to be clear, the submission date isn't meant to delay listings being entered into the MLS.
No, not at all. It's not a way to get around the MLS rules. All it is designed to do is allow that window of time for sellers and the agent to get ready with things like repairs and photos, etc., not to allow an exclusive marketing period for the agent for those 10 days.
Okay, and if the rule is violated?
Violations related to the policy may result in an automatic $250 fine, and that's separate from any potential violations involving clear cooperation.
Okay. Thank you so much for helping me walk through that. As a quick reminder to our members, make sure the soon-to-be-released listing agreement is fully signed. Clearly identify the commencement date, the submission date. Use any delayed submission time only for legitimate listing preparation, and remember that public marketing cannot occur before the listing is submitted to the MLS. Thank you for watching this important MLS update, and thank you for helping maintain a fair and professional MLS marketplace.